morning, sports fans from all around the world. I am Jeff Dawson, your host at ECSI's Breakfast Bankroll. From Cape Cod to Cancun, from Tampa to Taipei, from Vegas to the Vatican. We today here will welcome you to the MLB report. What happened yesterday? Recap the weekend. Today, talk about some overnight openers, the sharp report, some morning movers and shakers, and where we'll set you up with the market and where we think it's going later today. If you got a second, turn on your notifications on Twitter at EC Sports Invest so you'll never miss a show. Head on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. And also Twitch. Myself, Scotty, and a few others have some big ideas for some live streaming and actual in-game propositions and potential edges, value, double down. We're going to try to get that going for you the start of the fall and the college and NFL season. So head over to Twitch at East Coast Sports Investors and follow us there. So without further ado, the man, the myth, from the Palm Tree State himself, Mr. Scott E. Webb. What is up, Scotty?
Morning, Jeff. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well. We, Mondays are an important day for us here. Not that every day is not an important day, but it's the start of a new week, new beginning. We clear last week's slate. We had a 7-5-1 record here at ECSI. We netted and graded out a half unit to the good side. We lost our action parlay. I suggested to play a 69-cent parlay, leave a half unit there to roll over this week, which would have, in effect, we would have profited 8 out of the last 9 weeks now. And that's the whole key, is just not to pay the man, to survive in advance. It's not a free roll. It's not, it's your money. And a lot of times we like to say, shit, I'm up a unit and a half. Let's make it into 5 units, 4 units. And basically, in a nutshell, we all know where that ends. And we end up paying the man, and we just tell ourselves, what the hell, it's entertainment.
Yeah, that's there's a fine line there, right? When you're a gambler and investing and doing the different things you're doing between one of those deadly sins called greed and what we're actually doing, right? So we all have that penchant, and you see it on Twitter and you see it everywhere else you go, that somebody won X number of dollars, being they only invested X number of dollars, and holy shit, now they're millionaires. But you see that stuff, so it gives you hope. It kind of baits you into doing that crazy stuff. So you got to find that line, and everybody's line's a little different, I suppose. But you got to find that line that says, "Hey, I'm being really greedy, trying to make too much money," and then the what do they call them? The gambling gods come down and crack you in the head, and then you just sit there and you be disciplined enough to keep your bankroll alive, and you keep going, and then all of a sudden, you're playing preseason football games. So it's that's kind of the way I see it. I see it as, when I first got started, when I didn't have a full face of beard and wasn't all gray and all that stuff, I was younger, man. You start and you play and you do the different things, and my goal was to I'm going to set a standard number of dollars to win every week. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go say, I'm going to go win $1,000 a week. So I need to make X number of bets. I need to do X number of wins. I need to do all this stuff. And then all of a sudden you're losing, $1,500 a week, and you're going, what's going on? So the reality of it is that if you want to win $1,000 a week, you better be betting a lot more than $1,000 a week. So anyway, the point of it is all of that stuff kind of plays out, and then we've talked about it a million times, that how your bankroll goes and how many units you bet on a game and things like that. That determines how much money you're going to win. And if you want to win $1,000, then you better be betting, a certain dollar figure every week. So, or every game. And then you got to win a certain percentage, and you can figure that out. But it's not about how much dollars per se that you're going to win. It's a matter of how much dollars you can bet.
Yeah, and it's funny because each individual is different, and we have a couple hundred different clients, family members here at ECSI, and they all do it different, and have a lot of people that what's your goal, what's your end game? Well, again, I'd love to win $500 a week. Let's say they're a dollar player. Oh, that's a great goal, obviously. So wouldn't I, and but you start the week off hot, and it's Thursday, and they're up 565. Hey, you told me you want to win $500 a week, correct? Yeah. Well, you're up 565. So take the 500, put that to the desk. I don't care what you do with that $65. You got 4 days you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do whatever you want. Man, but you're on a heater. I don't want to miss it. Well, you just told me you wanted to win $500 a week. We hit your goal. Okay? And they don't get it. You tell me what you want to do. We'll provide the information to help you to get to that goal. But once you get that goal, then the game changes. I've been doing this for so damn long, Scotty. The same thing when people are up at $12.50 for the week, okay? And it's Thursday or Friday. Do me a favor. Put the 1,000 to the left and $250 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, I don't do that for me. At the end of the week, how'd you do? Oh, I profited $500. Oh, so you pissed away $750. Well, no, I profited $500. But on Friday, you were up $12.50, correct? Yeah, I asked you to put 1,000 to the left, correct? I don't care what you did with the $250. So you pissed away $750. Oh,
yeah, that's that. You get there and say you're a $50 bettor. I don't know, whatever. Say you're a $50 bettor, and you're winning and you're doing good, and you got your bankroll built up for the week a little bit. So then you sit there and go, I'm not a $50 bettor anymore. I can bet $75. I can bet $100. I can bet $150. Okay, well, then here comes in, bang, crack you right on the head, and there goes your money. So it's there's a fine line in what you're doing. And, we've said it on here, I don't know how many times, and we'll say it until, I don't know, until somebody listens, right? So as you go along, you're playing these games and you're doing the stuff and you're disciplined and you're grinding and grinding and grinding, and you make that money. And then all of a sudden, if you're not careful, if you're just not careful, it takes 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, and it's all gone. All that work you put into getting that edge is gone. So the reality becomes okay, what are we going to do now? Well, you got to start over. So you got to grind it up and grind it up and grind it up. So it's easier. I shouldn't say easier. It's smoother as the ride goes to stay on the grind. And as you say, once you've hit the target that you're trying to get to, use some of that little extra money to do whatever it is you want. Maybe you want to just take your wife out to dinner, for God's sakes. Okay, well, go do that. Whatever it is. I one time bought my wife a dog because that's what she wanted, and gambling wins. I got her a dog. So it's all kinds of stuff that is different. So as you do the different things and as you're growing and learning different stuff, it gives you the flexibility. And when you have flexibility, that's when you have power. When you don't have flexibility, you're pigeonholed into trying to do something that maybe you don't want to do, and you don't think it through. And then your options become, I'm just going to do something I wouldn't normally do. Okay, well, if you don't do it all the time and you're not used to doing what you're doing, you're probably not going to do very well. So, and that's usually what happens. And usually what ends up going through is they start off the next week or wherever they're at, and they got to rebuild everything back or reload their account or do whatever it is that they got to do. But, ultimately, I think that it's a learning curve of how to bet, as well as learning how to read the market, as well as learning how to handicap. They're all individually different things, and people take that and lump it all together. And maybe that's how we present it, is lumped all together, but that's because we've done it for a long time. So you sit there and you individually do these things, and then I always call it tell stories. So the story is, this team's going to have this pitcher do X, Y, and Z, and this hitters are going to do X, Y, and Z, and this is going to happen this way, and this is why it goes this way, and then the market plays into it, and it makes a bet, right? But those are all three different things we did to create that story. And then as in the stories we created yesterday, all those stories that I made, they all fell apart like right away, So you sit here and you look at these stories and you do the best you can, and you make this thing happen based on all the different things and information that you have. And then the guy goes out, Sean Manaea, for example, and gives up 5 runs in the first inning. Okay, well, the next game. I mean, it just, but if you manage your bankroll right, the reality becomes is you can absorb that. When you don't manage your bankroll right, you don't have the ability to absorb those hits.
Yeah, and what I'll say to all the listeners out there, it's a simple process for complicated people. And when I'm not saying that to be the wise guy here, again, it's just how we're wired. It's just now what you see on social media. Cut $10 can turn it into 10,000. Just go on to the Action Network and look at that 38-legged parlay that for $1 came in and paid $1 million. Those tickets are fakes, guys. They're fake. They're carrots. They're getting you there for a reason. There's a 999,000 losing tickets that you don't see, but you just see, the Miracle on Ice ticket. Okay. So here is very simply bankroll management. Okay. We'll use $1,000 as an example. Your bankroll is $1,000. It's 2.5% to 3%. That is the suggested price that you wager per game. Now, if you had $1,000 and you're one of these young kids, I'm a $150 player with $1,000 bankroll. You technically should be betting $25 to $30 per game with $1,000 bankroll. Period. Well, that does nothing for me. Exactly. See, everyone needs the juices flowing. They got to be on the edge of their seat. They got to be pissing, yelling, moaning, screaming after every missed extra point, after every pick six, after every missed call, error, bullpen blow up, you name it. If they're not living off of the seat and they're not getting the adrenaline flowing, then what good is it? And they just don't understand that aspect of it. And the fact of the matter is, once the chase is on, you're gone. And you started as a 25-30. Hey, I won't tell Jeff I'm up to 45-50. Oh, shoot. ECSI's on a heater now. Let's get it up to 50-75. And then the regression happens. And next thing you know, when the regression happens, you become $125 player. And then you have one or two of those weeks. And how's your bankroll doing? I got you probably right around even. Oh, no. I'm down $428. What do you mean you're down $420? Well, and it's just not for everyone. That's all. That's why I say, Scotty, most of the people, when the going gets tough and they got to look themselves in the mirror, they got to wake up on Monday morning and pay the man. It's okay. It was entertainment. I got a bang for my buck, and it's a new week. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, if you're not getting something out of why you're doing it, it's hard to keep doing. So I guess I would challenge the question is, if you go to work at a 9-to-5 office job and you come home and you feel like, yeah, okay, I did my job well. And then, but at the same time that you did that, did your juices flow the whole day? Were you on the edge of your seat excited the whole day? My guess is probably not. So So, even if you're a firefighter and you have to go do those things and your crazy schedules and doing that stuff, the reality is there's a lot of downtime, and I don't mean that to be saying anything negative to a firefighter. I just mean that your adrenaline flows when the alarm bell goes. So if you're gambling and you're looking at this and you look at it from a perspective of, man, it's a 1 o'clock start. It's 12:45. I'm getting the tingles. Stuff's happening. And I'm getting all of that. I get all that. I mean that's kind of fun, but at the same time, you got to remember that that's not the goal. The goal is not to get tingles. I mean, you got to make winning bets, and if you make winning bets, those tingles actually feel really good at the end. If you make losing bets, those tingles become, God damn it, and this and that, and kick the dog and all the other stuff. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be downtrodden, and then the whole experience of what you're doing is to get away from your regular world. And if your regular world is to be an office job person, and that's great, and you go and you enjoy the sports and you enjoy the games and you go do those things, by God, try to win. And if you win, you're gonna have something to show for it at the end, and whatever that something is, whether it's like we said, a date night, or you go buy a car, or you go to on vacation, or you just roll it over and keep growing your account. I don't know, but whatever your goals are, whatever it is that you want to do, I think that's kind of how it works. And you gotta not get too high, and you gotta get not too low. And sometimes it's pretty tough out there to not get too low.
Last 12 days in the MLB, favorites 117-47. It's just an amazing 70 games over 500. But obviously, most of these favorites, not most, but a lot of them are big favorites, minus $2, 220, 240, 260s, 180s, 190s. But it's just been on an amazing run the last 11 days. Yesterday, favorites 10-5, over 7-8. Some of the big dogs that cashed. Rangers plus 195, Angels plus 168, Yanks plus 159, Twins plus 140, Reds plus 122. And you talked about the Manaya, and it was funny as we sent out our action parlay. We leaned Oakland as well. Left the Yankees on the desk. The Giolito number at 170. The kid Cortez has been pitching well. He's sneaky good. Let's put it that way. And the number started fading to the right. So we leaned Oakland, left Yankees on the desk. And as you said, I knew right away Manaya didn't have it. So, Oakland got a lot of guys on base, had opportunities, couldn't push it through. So that's done for the day. The other game, when we were looking for that big favorite, again, was we left San Fran on the desk with Wood. Again, coming off the loss, Colorado's played better on the road. But again, San Fran's one of those teams that they're just winning series. That's all. So if they're coming off a loss, they win game 1, they lose game 2, they find a way to win game 3, And so with that being said, we're looking at today, and it looks initially like a board. It's a Monday, so they used to call it travel day. I don't know if they're still calling it travel day. It is what it is. There's something that really jumped out to me and us at ECSI. I'm going to throw this right out to you. I want your thoughts on it, your breakdown, if you have anything. But scanning the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 10 games. And we're, again, thanks to our friends at Wager Talk here, for the live odds here. So we scanned the full games. We've been very successful on the first 5s, which we'll get to in a moment. And I looked at all the numbers. There's one game that just really, really pops out at me, like shaking my head, like, wow. Why is Frankie Montas in Oakland open up as a favorite at the White Sox? I know the Keuchel factor. I get all that. I do. But that opening number with Oakland favored at the White Sox, surprise you? You got some numbers that will say this is why, or do you think it's the value on the White Sox at home?
So let's talk about that for a minute. So that did not surprise me. I was actually surprised because when I first sort of saw that number, I thought Keuchel was, kind of a favorite, and I thought Montas was going to be an even number. And so over the last month of pitchers, Frankie Montas is ranked 6th in all of baseball of being the best pitcher in all of baseball. So he is dynamic. He's got great stuff. He's always been that way. He's just never put it all together. And theoretically, I suppose that you can, say that these guys do different things for certain stretches of time. Well, over the last 7 starts, Frankie Montas has a game score of 64.7 or 65, basically, if you round it up. And we've always talked about 60 being that magical number that puts you in an ace category. Over his last 3 starts, it's 68, and over his last start was a 66. His xFIP number is 2.55. So that's walks, strikeouts, and home runs. So he is keeping guys from doing the things that they do to pitchers. He's controlling that what they call the 3 things that a pitcher will control to make all that stuff happen. The Sierra number is 2.91. His strikeout rate's 34%. His CSW, called strike percentage, swings and whiffs, 33.4%. There's really everything across the board for him is green except for ground ball rate. It's 44%. But his soft hit rate is 26%. So I'll take that. That doesn't much matter. Okay, so you got a pitching mismatch, so to speak. So Oakland's got an edge on the mound. So here's some other numbers. Oakland's record on the road is 34-25, so 9 games up. But their record at home is 34-25. It's exactly the same number. That doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot until you start looking at the run differential for both of those. And the run differential at home is +7 for Oakland. The run differential on the road for Oakland is +75. So for whatever the reason is, they pitch better and hit better and score on the road. But that's typically because Oakland's really it's not a hitter-friendly area. It's a pitcher-friendly area because all the foul balls and all the stuff that gets caught. So then you look on the other side of that and you kind of play in what's the White Sox doing? Well, the White Sox, since the All-Star break, there's 29 games. The White Sox have won 14 games. They've lost 15 games. So they're 1 game under 500 in the second half of the season. Now, they're really good at home, right? They're 39-22 at home. But let's look at this one step farther. They play in a division with the Indians and the Twins and the Royals and the Tigers. So they're playing all these teams that are below 500 teams. What happens when they play teams that are above 500? Well, their record in games above 500 is 16 wins, 21 losses. They are a under 500 team when the caliber of competition grows. So if you ask me, when you look at it, I kind of think that this is one of those matchups because Keuchel's probably the one that's going to get hit the most, and he's the one that's going to give up the contact. And then you have Montas, who is one of their best premium pitchers. Not that the other guys aren't pitching well, because Manaea's pitching well, and so is the other guy, Bassett. Those guys are doing really well. And currently, Oakland is number 3 in baseball in hitting. And the White Sox coming off the series with the Yankees, not so much hitting. Not that they're not ever going to hit, but the truth is they're not in the top. They're not in the top. They're not in the bottom, but they're not excelling at hitting right now, and it shows in a record of 14-15 in the second half. But it also shows that they aren't in the chase, right? They're not doing everything to do what's necessary to just win every game they play. Oakland, on the other hand, is trying to catch Houston, and Houston's been playing well, and Oakland is just staying right there. I mean, Oakland is doing a lot. So that didn't surprise me, and I kind of like Oakland in this spot.
The rest of the actually, I'm going to take that a step further. I'm going to just show everyone what I see here. First five was interested to see. I'm going to go through the whole onion here on that.
Look how big Montas is as a favorite in the first 5 innings.
So he opened at 120, and Circus said not so fast. He's at 135. He's getting pushed to 140s across the board. We'll go minus a hook. Opened at plus 115. You can get him at plus 102 if you give up the half run line. Team totals for the first 5. Oakland 2.5 under minus 115. White Sox 2.5 under 156, and the under over for the first 5 is a 5 under minus 120. So I mean, basically what they're saying is, Oakland's going to get to 2 till they get to 3, and the White Sox, there's no way they're going over 2. Is it 0, 1, or 2? I mean, that's just the skinny on that. But with that said, that was a great breakdown. Much, much appreciated there. Let's get you over to the full games again. Game here. And we'll go money lines for you. And the Scotty report. What are you seeing today, Scotty? Anything?
Yeah, well, there's 2 just interesting things. One, remember we talked about it, but maybe talked about it in the after effect. So this time we're going to talk about it in the fore effect. These travel games, 1-game series, make up rain out games, and then they got to go somewhere else, right? So the Los Angeles Angels last night were in California. Today they fly in and they play the New York Yankees and have to face Garrett Cole. And then tomorrow they're in Detroit. So plane lands. Hey, welcome to New York. Oh shit, I gotta face Garrett Cole, and out they go to Detroit. So that's one of those spots where you just kind of have to have an understanding of what's going on. And as far as I look at that, that's a pretty tough thing for you're going to ask the Angels to do.
We talked about that last Monday. Reds coming off a great series, had to travel to Cleveland for a one-night stand, telling them, hey, your bags are already in Atlanta, because they played in Atlanta on Tuesday. And the White Sox the Indians just wiped the field with them. So now you want the Angels to travel cross-country to face Cole, which, hey, coach, my stomach doesn't feel that well tonight. Let someone else in. I'll be ready for Tuesday.
I'm just saying, that's one of those spots. If you want to try to figure out how to bet it, I didn't go into detail with that one because that one's a really big number. But and then another kind of interesting spot is the Colorado Rockies are playing the San Diego Padres, and Weathers is pitching, and he's been really, really bad. And I can just tell you that Senzatello, has fallen off a little bit, but he's been one of their better pitchers. But let's look at this, right? We talked about what Oakland was like on the road and at home. It's just way different for Colorado. Colorado's won 14 games on the road all season. That's it, 14. At home, they've won 38. They are 38-21 at home, the Colorado Rockies. They're 17 games above 500, and their run differential is plus 67 in those games. They are a very competitive team, and they hit when they're at home. And now they're facing a team in San Diego in Weathers, who's not a good pitcher, has struggled for the last month, and got Senzatella. And you're going to get some good numbers. I was really surprised that it's actually starting to really fall. If you look at the number, it started with San Diego up here, and now it's down going this way, right? People are putting money on Colorado, and I'm like, I get it, but at some point in time, you have to draw the line and go, okay, this shortstop guy for the Padres. I don't know about that guy, bro. That guy, he's a total difference maker for the San Diego Padres. I mean, shit, he comes back, his arm falls off, and then he goes and hits 2 home runs. I don't get it.
Yeah, generational to say the least. There, it's kind of comical. They're talking about moving him to the outfield because they're tired of him, getting injured with that shoulder. And but how many times he's going to crash into a wall or something? So it's
He
kind of
probably would. He would do that in a heartbeat. And then the only other game, Jeff, that I actually bet, those were the 2 notes I had. The game I bet the Cleveland Indians in the first 5 plus 115 today against the Twins. Quantrill has been outstanding over the last month, and I wanted to back him because it's a kind of a rivalry type game, and I just thought that Quantrill's a better picture than Jax.
And tomorrow we'll have a bigger slate. A lot more teams. Series will be opening up. We talked yesterday, and I'm just going to talk about it for 1 second here. The NFL exhibition game, and I talked about how the unders were 14-2. And of course, the over came in yesterday. And it was funny again. It landed on 3. Go figure, right? One of the magical numbers. And again, as I spoke yesterday, I talked about some 5s, 5.5, 6s. That was the behind the scenes number. And then when this thing got out there, it was 3s, 2.5. So any of the Panthers plus 2.5 guys, I feel for you. But most, it looked like the closing number was 3 there. And we'll have a lot more on football later this week as well. For the week coming up, myself and Scotty will be back here around the same time tomorrow. On Wednesday at 2 p.m., we have our lacrosse show with Dan Alexander. On Friday at 2 o'clock, we have Andrew McGinnis from Wager Talk, and we're talking Canadian Football League. And hopefully, God willing, we'll have the real Vegas Dave on this week, Dave Sharapan at Sportsbook Consig and the Cash Out Consideration Show. But moving forward, it's getting that time, Scotty. It's the 16th. We're getting each day a step closer to Labor Day weekend and the pigskin. And it's a good time of year. I really enjoy the start in September, the goosebumps, everyone's walking around like football's back. And meanwhile, I got the split screen, I got the 8 baseball games going on, and then I got to flip back, what's going on in the football game, yada, yada. Because in September, with the extra wild card, there's a lot more teams still involved than there would have been back in the past. And especially in the AL East, you're not that far away from us, So I know we beat up on the Royals, boo-hoo. I mean, the Orioles, it is what it is. But at least it gave the Red Sox some momentum. They got a doubleheader tomorrow in the Bronx. So kind of surprised here as well with the Yankees. Starting Cole here in this game. I know each game is the same. A win's a win's a win. But, you might have been able to piece together a bullpen game and get Cole to start in one of the games tomorrow against the Sox. But it is. So closing, Scotty, anything good?
Well, I think that I spent my morning doing my baseball stuff, and then I was looking at the college football game that is Nebraska and Illinois that I thought was kind of an interesting game. But anyway, I was looking at some stuff like that. So first time really diving into actual numbers and handicapping games after, kind of just looking at team strengths and different things like that. But I'm excited. I think that this will be a telling week to see where Boston is, where the Yankees are, what's happening, with the AL East. The NL East is really kind of we just got to figure out who wants to win it, right? Because they got teams just beating each other up to try to come out of that market. But I think I think what we asked for is happening. We asked for some fun. We asked for a dynamic race. I still don't count the Reds out of the wild card in a sense that they're not that far behind the Padres. So I like that idea. I like the fact that those games matter, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And I think that we need to not only handicap the games, but enjoy the rest of the baseball season, because all you're going to hear about soon is how they hate each other. So just have fun now, because as you go forward, it's going to be interesting to see. And I didn't dabble into a whole lot of the college or pro football preseason yet. And I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work out, and I'm certainly handicapping and looking and that kind of thing. But these 3 games instead of 4 games have me all confused. I don't know. I don't know who's playing and when their dress rehearsal game is. When's the game that they don't want nobody to get hurt game is, and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I'm cautionary about. And I knew the first game was just let's go out there and bump into each other and stuff like that. But as they go into this coming week, I think you're going to see. They need to see what's going on with these kids, whether they can play or whether they can't, because there's only one game after that. And I think that ratchets things up for this week. So keep an eye on totals this week, because I think they're going to want to score more.
No, I agree. And again, trends are, trends to me. Hey, listen, my buddy Mike Francesa from The Fan said it 30 years ago, and I kind of live by it. He goes, if I wasn't invited to the wedding, I'm not going to the funeral. And he basically says in a nutshell, for me in this business, listen, the unders were 14-2. If you didn't get on board while they were 14-2, don't jump on it now. And because they could go 7-7. The same thing with these favorites, 117-47 last 11 days, plus 70 games. I'm not telling you to go to the window and punch every favorite. No, the dogs are going to start barking, and I think they're really going to start barking very, very soon, and they'll really be barking in September, and the casinos don't care anyways because no one's playing them. They're only playing football anyway. So it's kind of comical how all this stuff meshes together. You get your preseason game where you're going to get more interest this week. Is week 3, is that the dress rehearsal? Is the first half of this week the dress rehearsal? We shall see. Each game will play out as we're getting closer to Nebraska, Illinois, where I don't know what happened to my Mighty Red. I tell you, back in the days with Coach Osborne, Frazier, Irvin Fryer, Sia Red, 4th and 8, Scotty. We line up into the wishbone. We're running it. You know it, and you couldn't stop it. You couldn't stop it. I miss those days, and they're a laughing stock right now, and I thought Frost might be the answer, and Frost is a good last name for him because it's getting cold, and he's going to be outside looking in before you know it. So,
yeah, I'm kind of concerned about that team. It's if they have that nickname for their defense, right? They're the Black Shirts. Okay, well, shit, you cannot have a nickname for a team that gives up 30 points a game. I don't care. If you're going to give up 30 points a game, you might as well call them, I don't know, the Pink Shirts, for God's sake, the Black Shirts. Are you kidding me? But what's interesting here in this game is, and I'm not trying to throw anything in there yet, but that game opened up at I think 7.5 for Nebraska on the road, and now it's 7. And Bielema is now the head coach of Illinois. And Illinois has 9 guys back on offense, 10 guys back on defense. Lovey was there, did some pretty good recruiting, actually got them into a bowl game a year or 2 ago. These teams, and again, Jeff, when we look at this is going to be something that you got to keep in mind, right? So Illinois played only Big Ten teams last year, so they got their ass handed to them. Nebraska only played Big Ten teams last year, so you can see the difference in what it is when they're playing those kind of level of teams. when they start playing the non-conference games and some of that stuff this year, it's going to open things up for these teams to get a little bit better and do a little bit more recruiting. But I'm looking at this Nebraska team, and they got a quarterback. They ain't got nothing else. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy's been there 4 years now, and these are all his guys he's recruited, and they got a quarterback. They still got a bad defense. They still don't have a great offense. Whatever. I mean, I think Illinois has got just as good a shot in this game as anything else.
If you wager in today, bet with your head, not your heart. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Reach out to someone. There's plenty of help there. It's a new day. It's a new week. It's a new beginning. Enjoy the 24 hours that are gifted to us. If you cash a ticket or two, it's a great day. If you don't, so well be it. There's always a new day tomorrow. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, co-host Scotty Webb, hope everyone has a great day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.